I have a cloth to wipe the sweat, and I have a glass of water for rehydration, and I'll stop at any time I feel I need to stop, okay? So that's really important. If you need to stop, stop, and you can resume when you feel up to it. You're going to be rubbing in a parallel or synchronized motion, however you feel comfortable, and the pace of the rub is up to you. So as slowly or as quickly as you feel comfortable. You've got power points at the base of the pointer fingers, and these help activate the heat really quickly. So we start with rubbing from the top of the foot up to the knee. And nice big breathing. In through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Remember that nice strong posture as you push your way through the rub. Nice and comfortable. Lifting the front of the feet and pointer finger and middle finger either side of the Achilles. Look at those feet. They're your feet. Increasing the lengths up the back of the calf muscle. Pointer finger and middle finger are doing the work here. Nice long lengths up the back of the lower legs. And back to the Achilles. And then feet on the floor. Returning to the front of the lower legs. Now we relax the knees and using the pointer fingers on the inside of the feet. So allowing the flexibility in the shape of the fingers to slide along the shape of the body. Maybe a good exfoliation for some of you. And then lifting the knees and returning to the top of the lower legs. Lifting the front of the feet, anchoring on the heels. And rubbing the sides of the feet. So really helpful for achieving body balance and restoring coordination to the body functions. Remembering that nice big breathing and feet on the floor. Rubbing the front of the lower legs some more. Up to the knees, allowing the fingers to wrap the front of the knees, nurturing your body. Using the pointer finger and reaching in the mechanisms of the knees, helping restore the components in the body with the nurture process of the rub. Activating that heat. Top of the knees. Using the power points. And then inside the knees. Remember that nice strong posture, rotating those hips forward. And then increase the lengths on the inner thigh. Using the power points, so lifting the fingers, just using the power points at the base of the fingers and the palm. And then the top of the thighs, bringing the knees together. I write a lot of poetry, so I rhyme a lot. Outside of the thighs. You're doing really well. and then underneath the thighs, lifting one foot at a time. Nearly went into song there. You're doing really well. So you can sit there like this and in a synchronized way. Parallel. Now we're going to anchor on the left hand, and the right hand sits like this, and we're going to start at the groin and rub the shape of the buttock to the hip, to the groin, to the hip, from the hip to the groin, and the groin to the hip. Remember to keep up that nice big breathing. Back to the groin, and then extend that right leg and underneath the thigh. And back to the groin, to the hip, from the hip to the groin. Then we're going to extend the leg again. Nice long lengths underneath the thigh. And then alternating sides, first resetting with both hands on either side of the thighs. Alternating sides, anchoring on the right hand, left hand in this direction, starting at the groin to the hip. Hip to the groin, groin to the hip. Nice and comfortable, nice and relaxed. Then I'm going to extend the leg, so extend that left leg and rubbing underneath the thigh. Back to the groin, rubbing along the shape of the buttock to the hip. So I've got my pointer finger, my middle finger and my ring finger, the stabilizing fingers. Nice strong hands. Extending that left arm and rubbing underneath the thigh. Resetting both hands on either side of the thighs. Now we're onto the back of the body. Pointer fingers. Find the hip bones and rub underneath the hip bone, the top of the hip bone. Right to the point of the tailbone. Practice, practice, practice. Now we bring the hands together and rubbing either side of the spine. Then back to the hips, this time the top of the hip bone, so above the hip bone. And now we're going to flip the hands and onto the front of the central body. got my legs extended in front, feet either side of each other, nice and strong. Side of the ribs. I'll just show you there. And then onto the sternum. Remember that nice strong posture. Nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. Lifting their hands, palms together, twist, keeping the tops of the hands together, looking ahead and feeling the compression between the shoulders. And nice big circle with the hands, left palm on top of right hand. I'm going to bring the palms to this position and gentle push in the posterior direction backwards with that front hand. So feeling the stretch between the shoulders. And holding the position. And alternating hands. So bringing the hands to the center and alternate. Gentle push with that left hand in the posterior direction. Posterior is back. Remember to keep those palms facing forward. And holding the hands in this position. So feeling that stretch between the shoulders, sitting up nice and strong. And returning the hands to the center. This time the right hand grabs onto the left wrist and up and over. Nice big breathing, shifting the blood to the areas that we're working, including the stretched areas, refilling those fibers with regenerated blood. Constructing flexibility, returning to the center, left hand, holding onto the right wrist, up and over. Nice big breathing. And up to the center, bringing the elbows forward and rotating the hands to this position, keeping the elbows in one place and swinging the hands. So we're shifting the energy that we've built up in the arms through the rest of the body and achieving nice long muscles. Arms extended to this position, rotating the hands and lift up. Bending at the elbow and lifting the hands. So giving the triceps a good stretch. And twist and push. Now we're onto the upper body. So anchoring on the left elbow. We've got the right foot resting on the left thigh. And with the pointer finger and the middle finger reaching from the top of the spine, fanning along that left shoulder, along the shoulder blade back to the top of the spine. Now we're going to go up the neck to the ear and then to the center of the chin. Up, up, up to the ear and then back to the top of the spine. You'll find your neck muscles get stronger with the rub session in this process. So nice and gentle, gentle yet firm. To the top of the spine, a great way to shift any particles that have built up there that cause any tightness. To the neck, to the ear, up, up, and then to the center of the chin. And then onto the collarbone, just below the collarbone. Then my left hand is going to sit on the side of the right thigh, and my pointer finger is going to reach into the shoulder mechanism, so just between the shoulder and the collarbone, generating the heat. And up and over, shifting to the middle finger to gain that stability in the rub. Rejuvenating and regenerating tissue particle, shifting any contaminants in the body into the cleanse functions. Up and over. And then anchoring that left hand onto the floor, rotating the inner elbow to rub inside the bicep. Using the power point in the right hand. And then working your way around to the tricep, where the hand wraps the tricep. Remembering to breathe in through the nose, exhale through the mouth, then onto the elbow. And then the inner elbows, we're going to rotate the hand using the power point to rub the inner elbow. And then the top of the forearm, so rotate that hand back. And then underneath the forearm. And onto the hand. Using the point of the fingers, the points of the fingers to reach in between the knuckles. As you're building strength, you may want to use the palm of your hand. Then back to the wrist, to the elbow. And then up. Left hand sits at the top of the spine, rubbing underneath the bicep. And then reach and pull. Shifting any contaminants in the body into the cleanse function of sweating. Lots of cleanse functions: evaporation, urination, excretion, crying is a cleanse function, and of course I said sweating. Alternating sides onto the right side of the body, nice and comfortable. So remember that right foot is on the left thigh, anchoring on the elbow, and pointer finger and middle finger starting at the top of the spine and fanning along to the shoulder, across the shoulder blade. Allowing the fingers to slide along the shape of the body onto the neck and then up onto the ear and then to the center of the chin. Up, 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 back to the ear, back to the top of the spine, between the pointer finger and the middle finger are my strongest fingers for this area. To the top of the spine, to the neck, to the ear, up, up, to the center of the chin. And then sitting up and onto the collarbone. My right hand is going to stabilize on the outside of the left knee and pointer finger in the mechanism of the shoulder there, activating the heat. Up and over, reaching the back of the shoulder. Back to the front of the shoulder. Really feeling that heat. Up and over. Back to the front of the shoulder. Anchoring that right hand on the floor, rotating the elbow and reaching in the bicep. Using the power points. Rotating the inner elbow across the upper arm to the tricep. You're doing really well. And onto the elbow. Rotating the inner elbow forward and onto the inner elbow. From the inner elbow onto the forearm. And then the elbow to the wrist. Nice big breathing, and onto the hand. So you can use the tips of the fingers to reach in between the knuckles, or you can use the palm of the hand, the left hand, to motivate and rejuvenate the tissue particle in the hands. And wrist to elbow and up and over. That right hand, the palm is just resting at the top of the spine. reach and pull. Just have to wipe some sweat there. Reach and pull. Remember, we're shifting any contaminants in the body into the cleanse functions during the rub session. It's a total body activation. It's a nurture session. It's a repair session. Now both hands, either side of the chest. Now we're on to the top of the shoulders. Anchoring on the right hand there and lifting the left hand using the pointer finger and the middle finger and the ring finger to go diagonally, the top of the spine, reaching the trapezius, and then shifting the direction of the fingers horizontally to go up the back of the neck. Nurturing that neck muscle, really important, keeping the neck nice and strong. And then back to the top of the spine, that slight angle. And then angling the fingers horizontal to rub up the back of the neck. Alternating sides. Anchoring on the left hand, lifting that right hand, pointer finger, middle finger and ring finger, slight diagonal, reaching the trapezius, and then shifting the fingers in a horizontal direction, rubbing up the back of the neck. And back to the top of the spine, slight angle. And then up the back of the neck. To the top of the spine. Now in this process, 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and relaxed. And reaching with the elbows. Nice big breathing, reaching with the elbows, lifting those ribs. And in this process, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're onto the front of the neck. So rotating the hands and lifting up. So nice and gentle, firm yet gentle, stimulating and motivating the tissue particle at the front of the neck. You get stronger and stronger in the front of the neck as you conduct the rub sessions. Up the side of the ear, and then rotate those hands forward and slide the thumbs to connect at the back of the head. Nice big breathing. Up, up, up. Just above the cheekbones, rotating those hands forward and sliding the thumbs to connect at the back of the head, nice and slow, firm yet gentle. Up, up, up. To the temples, rotating those hands forward and sliding the thumbs nice and slow. to connect at the back of the head. Now we're going to glide the fingers through the hair, okay? Clasping the hair and pulsing gently. So lifting the particles in the scalp. Sliding the hands through the hair and pulsing gently. Continuing that nice big breathing. And that's the end of the session.